the next episode, we have with us Remy Carpinito, also in our book Fast Forward as well. But he's the CEO of CampusTap, which he started in college. It's basically a platform that allows mentorship opportunities between college students and alumni. But hey, welcome, and we're very happy. And thank you for
thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely, of course. So why don't we kick things off, and really, if you were to describe what CampusTap is in one or two sentences, what would that be?
Sure. Yeah. What we really focus on is connecting people to opportunity. And that ultimately takes in many different shapes. And one of the main focuses we do focus in on is mentorship. So connecting students to alumni more often than not.
Okay. And what would you even say is kind of you started off with building this platform, right in college. What's the vision? What's that big picture that you have for CampusTap?
Yeah, I think one of the things when I started in college that I saw a bigger opportunity in as a student is to kind of leverage your time there. And I know it's a big thing you guys talk about a lot as well. And ultimately what we see is, how do you allow technology to facilitate connections between people? I think everyone knows that people are willing to help, but finding those people are really challenging. So in college I had a direct experience that led me to a person that made a pretty big impact in my career. So I wanted to make that more accessible to the average student.
So when we sat down with you almost 2 years ago now to the interview for the book, you were in a totally different place. I think your goal at that time was to get into 5 schools. You're way beyond that now. For those watching, maybe you can give us just a breadth of where CampusTap is now and what's kind of next.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, when we first started, a handful of schools, and over the last year or so, we've 10x'd our client base. We're up to over 50 schools,
That's awesome.
and it's been an amazing year, and we're just getting started still. And what's nice about where we're moving, we definitely have built a nice, repeatable sales process. I think one thing as a company scales that you start thinking about is how to optimize processes and automate things. And we've built a really strong sales engine, coupled with a marketing team that produces content that's constantly feeding the sales engine as well. But where we're going at a higher level than that is taking what we do in college and continuing that engine that's going to continue to run. We'll be at over 100 schools by the end of this year.
Wow.
And we'll be starting to work with corporate companies as well. I think there's a big opportunity from an employee engagement standpoint and managing these employee alumni networks that are so valuable just as the college networks are as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you started this in college, right?
Yeah.
And everybody knows, college, you have your exams, you have these clubs you're part of. You may have sports that you play, and you're waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning just to go to practice.
Yep.
So in terms of, basically you don't have a lot of time, right? And so how did you actually start CampusTap on campus, and what were some of the things that you saw that made you successful in starting it on campus?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You resonated kind of touching on the sports piece, and I was an athlete, and as in the book stated there. And when I did stop playing baseball, I had so much free time. That was a full-time commitment, and I never knew anything else beyond college of baseball and class. That was it. And so when I had all this free time, I really wanted to identify opportunities to kind of leverage to get ahead in my career. And I just like every student starts thinking about it, whether it's their senior year or they're super proactive students in their freshman year. I wanted to find a way to get involved, and I found that there's so much opportunity that it can be overwhelming. There's events happening every day. There's different groups you can join. How do you find the right thing to do? And I don't think there is ever a right thing to do, but you just need to try things. So one thing I always wanted to do is kind of get into a group that spoke to my passion, and that ended up being technology. So leaning back on things I always did as even before college, reading blogs and just the latest tech news and staying up to trends. And I found a group that kind of fit that niche. And so kind of leveraging that led me to ultimately kind of falling into this group that ended up leading me to an internship that got me to the company ideation stage when I was also working a part-time job. And you have so much time in college, and you have the ability to either really take advantage of it and start a company or join a group or do an internship, or you don't. And I think take a step back and assess that, and you don't need to start a company. But there are definitely opportunities to take advantage of when you're in school, because you're never going to have more time than when you do it when you're in college, in my opinion.
Were there any challenges that you saw, while you were starting this up, while you were trying to grow CampusTap, while you were in college, and how did you?
Yeah. So starting a company in college is definitely challenging. You need to manage people's expectations. You're saying you're starting a company, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's great. What are you trying to? What's your idea?" I was like, "No, this is real. This is a company." You need to overcome that stigma of that you're a student, but that you can also use that to your advantage. I think one of the big things that opened a lot of doors for us is saying, this is a project that I'm working on as a student. More people are willing to take a conversation then and pull me in and be super transparent about what they do, which led us to opportunities and potential functionality that made itself into the application. Where if I was selling a product, it would be, hey, you're just another sales guy.
Right.
So that's one big opportunity, even with the challenge and the stigma of a student. In addition, I think finding a co-founder is really challenging. I had a technical background, and not everyone's starting a tech company, but a lot of people do. And I do think if you have the ability to find someone, I ended up finding that person when I was working a part-time job as a security guard. That he ended up connecting to one of his friends that lived in the building. It was totally random circumstance, but those, being able to find that person that you can lean on from a technical side or even a business side, depending on which side of the table you're on, is really important. Because the early days, I was coming up with this business plan, I saw this opportunity, I had the market addressed, but I didn't have a product. And, you can have the best marketing team in the world, the best concept in the world, but you need to go execute it. So trying to find that person to help you do it. Don't try to do it alone, which some people try. And you can do it, but I'd highly, highly recommend finding a co-founder so you get kind of a team together. But the nice thing for me, I think also, if you do have the ability, depending on the schools you go to, I actually studied entrepreneurship here at Suffolk, so it was part of my curriculum to actually launch the company, which is perfect. So I got exposed to additional resources, such as the law school helped me with drafting the first agreements of equity and employment agreements and trademarks, etc. So leverage the resources. If you're at a university, there's a ton of different areas that you can tap into. Whether you want to go talk to a professor that's a computer science person that can help you identify technology that may be worth looking into, so on and so forth. But leverage your time there, leverage the people that are there. A lot of people that have industry experience that are professors or department leads. But try to integrate yourself as much as you can.
Yeah, you hit on a key point there when you're talking about AJ, your co-founder, and how that kind of natural synergy came to be. And I think we talked to Scott Bailey in one of the previous episodes, who's got a different lens. He's working with really early stage startups. I know you were in the Mass Challenge at one time.
Yep.
Maybe talk to us a little bit, and for college students who are watching, the importance of team. I mean, you were doing a lot of things on your own to start.
Yep.
Now, we're in this great space, your own office, which obviously means a lot to you, I'm sure. You're able to build your own culture here. You've got a pretty big team that supports you. How important is that team dynamic, and how has your role changed now as a CEO and manager of people versus a doer?
Right, yeah, no, I mean, that's a phenomenal question. And whenever a company scales, and this isn't the first company I've started, so definitely learning a lot along the way. But in the early days when it was just AJ and I, anything beyond the product I was doing. I wrote a few blogs. I built the website. I helped with. I did all the cold calls and sales, and built the materials and quite literally everything. And it's overwhelming at times when you're at that pace, but you just do one thing at a time. And that's the only way you can really get through it. Otherwise you'll get overwhelmed. But once you start scaling, so one thing I did to scale, I was really a firm believer that getting managers level in first would make it a lot easier to build out the team. So we hired sales, we hired accounts, and so on and so forth. So we built the teams underneath them for the BDRs, additional account managers, marketing, and engineering. And that really led to me being able to take a step back and maintain vision and kind of keep moving things forward on a strategic level, while each department could run, not totally autonomously, but they can run on their own without direct insight with me every day. So that was a really I think that's worked really well.
Yeah.
And are there gaps in our staff? Absolutely. You only have so many resources as a startup, and we did get a round of funding, but it's still never enough to fully fill out who you need. And as we move to this next round, that's where we're going to kind of unleash the power of what we really want to do at scale.
And I mean, you talk about vision, you talk about managing a team, making sure they're seeing the vision. I mean, you've been in the technology space for a while, right? I mean, you started in college, you've been interested in technology. From your perspective, how have you seen kind of technology evolve? And even for college students that are watching, what are some of those trends that you're seeing that, college students will need to be aware of when making their own career decisions or going on their own career journey?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, technology, as many people know, is always evolving. There's always something new. There's always something better. There's always a new iPhone. There's always a new computer. But there's also stuff that people take chances on that don't work. So, for example, when I was in college, our CampusTap alludes to this near-field communication product that was going to lean on NFC chips in the first Android phone, the Nexus that had it. And we were banking that the iPhone was going to happen the next year. It didn't happen until 3 years later. So, you can be at the forefront, the bleeding edge, but it may not always be the right decision. But I think becoming perceptually aware of the market and understanding trends is really important. So, reading a lot, staying on top of the tech. And if you have a technical co-founder, definitely make sure they're an academic in their space in the sense that they stay up to the latest trends in different engineering languages. So, for example, us adapting our platform recently and totally re-architecting our system, it's a huge risk. Most companies don't take that, especially at this stage. However, we just moved over to this new platform language in Elixir using the Phoenix framework, and the performance that we see now is exponentially faster. It's unbelievable, and it's something I wouldn't have found, but knowing AJ is just knows the latest and greatest tech on the lower level kind of code side goes a long way, and we're one of the few companies on this piece of technology, but the performance already in some of the other companies that are starting to use this, it really is the future. So that's one piece. Some other areas that I think are really exciting beyond functional programming is artificial intelligence as well, and machine learning. So obviously there's been a lot of talk about that over the last couple of years, and we've also been building an adaptive kind of suggestion engine, and that's always being iterated on. It's never done. What's your algorithm? What's evolving? And that's something that we're excited about now, especially with the new architecture. We have so much access to data, we have so much more control over the system that I think that's going to be one of the most powerful tools in the system, and ultimately the backbone of what really makes CampusTap unique and powerful is this matching piece, and that kind of speaks to AI a little bit and this adaptive learning. Chatbots are really interesting. We have a little bot in there called Tappy, and they'll pop up to help navigate the system a little bit.
Cool.
But there's also the future of predictive career paths and identifying based on your makeup what type of role you could potentially be placed in. So we're excited about that. And then just even bigger at a larger scale, augmented reality, virtual reality are just two really exciting areas for me that I'm just personally excited about. That I think there's a lot of potential applications, and we're just scratching the surface with the actual medium and the tech.
I want to just thank you so much for all you've done for Fast Forward, and we wish CampusTap nothing but success for all the college admins that are watching. CampusTap, thecampustap.com. Remy's doing some amazing things, and you're an inspiration to us, man. So thank you so much for the time.